Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving Shorty, and I'm reviewing a Marvel comic book today. In fact, I'm reviewing an X-Men comic book today. And if you've been following these for the many, many times I've been doing it, including going back to the podcast, you'll know I tend to not worry too much about what's going on in the X-Men stuff because it's always going to be part of a large story. And yes, they could all be read individually, but they still make a point of, end of every issue, putting it within its place of all the other X-Men comics that are coming out. So there's always been a bit of me that's nervous that I'm not gonna get the full experience of it. But issue 1 is always a good place to try it and see what they're doing and see if they are gonna go off in their own direction. And this one, well, it's still dealing with the Krakoan issue, which is like the major thing that Hickman did. And the major things Hickman did are still playing quite a lot. Even the layouts of the comic book, the data turn kind of page stuff that he puts in there. Sorry, waving my arm around instead of actually giving you an example. This kind of thing, which appear in an awful lot of ones that I have read anyway. Something that Hickman does not just in X-Men, but he does it in a lot of them. And it seems to be something which has been adapted to give them all a unified kind of feel to them. I don't argue that at all. It's a nice little touch. But Spurrier is not that kind of writer. And he very quickly kind of proves that he isn't. He has a way of dealing with darker subjects that's very, very effective. And he's also got a knack for dialogue, which I think I wasn't quite aware of until I read his Hellblazer, and it really opened my eyes to what he can do as a writer. And there's quite a lot of that in here. There's a lot of just like one-shot little cool moments where Nightcrawler and a few friends play a little bit of a joke on Magneto, and then it cuts to a really nice kind of close-up of just Magneto eyes narrowed, so a jape. And it's just like, yeah, okay, that's cool. That's just a good bit of writing. And it kind of like talent runs all the way through it, including down to just matters of the basic concept of it. And before we get into the concept, I'm going to talk about the artwork for a little bit. Because in the past, I think the last time I made this comment was reviewing the Union, where it was just underwhelming house style artwork. There's certainly a level of house style by Quinn in this one, but it goes just that little bit above. Not enough that I'm like, oh my god, can't believe it, amazing, great artwork. But there's some thoroughly nice moments. I mean, the Magneto little close-up is very, very cool. He plays really well with negative space and knows how to use shadows very effectively. When there's action sequences, they flow, and there is a genuine sense of movement, which you can do surprisingly well in a single panel with a character like Nightcrawler, who is the main focus of this. I like I guess it's first or second page. You don't have to wait long before you get a Banff, and it's him and a few of the mutants falling gracefully to the ground. And because there's certain pages where you see him moving repeatedly, bamfing from one place to another, even though it's a still image, you get a sense of motion and movement, which is very well done. It's the kind of thing which comic book artists, I think, are just amazing at, and it's something which I think is often overlooked. But when it happens, it's brilliant. Go back and check out Undone by Blood for my favorite examples of that one. But artwork is just that. It's definitely it goes above, but it never excels. It's never like best thing ever, but still worth checking out for it. The main thing to talk about, though, is the actual premise of it, which is the idea that Krakoa is a new nation and a new society, is finding ways to make itself a nation and a society, things that it shares in common, which basically means creating culture and creating, in a way, mythology and other such things. Nightcrawler's part in this is that he wanted to create a religion, because a lot of the morality issues he had as a Roman Catholic stopped being relevant when they defeated death. And as such, he felt out of place. He was trying to find a way to put himself into the society and also hopefully use it as a unifying thing so that people can do it. Other people attempted, just mind-altering drugs, because why the hell not? And also the idea of weird gladiatorial combat, which gets explained better in the comic than I'm going to have in a few minutes, so I'm not going to worry about that one. And even urban legends, which is quite a nice touch, actually. Somebody who has an interest in such things and how they form and how they work. The start of like a bogeyman figure, which is unique to the way Krakoan mutants live their lives, as in they die, come back and have another life. And I think that goes against like the idea of organized religion, which comes up a little bit in several people when they're talking to Nightcrawler about why he chooses to still live that kind of life when there's been so much else going on. There's rather a nice point where it's like the amount of actual God's mutant kind of met outnumber the amount of terrible lattes I've had. And it's like, yeah, that it does raise some questions, and I'm hoping it's going to answer them. It's certainly an absolutely solid start. I'll be looking for some Xpuria after Hellblazer finished. I'm not sure if this is it, because again, it's a whole X-Men thing, and I don't really get into any of the rest of it, so I'm not entirely sure it would be worth following. But it's probably one of the better ones I've read of the current stuff. I mean, after Dawn of X and whatever, now Way of X definitely seemed like a good step forward. If you want to try something else, I would recommend it. Anyway, that's it for me. I've got one more to do this week, and I've managed to convince one of my regular customers to let me read their copy of You Promised Me Darkness. So I'm going to read that one and do a review of that one tomorrow. So until then, take it easy, stay safe, bye.